Hello, it's Kylie here, and I would like to welcome you to a book that sells and the Author Whisperers live video. If you're here, say hi, hit the like button and let me know you're there, or drop a comment. And I want to talk about something that I get a lot of questions about from my clients, the people that I work with and coach with, and I've got a pretty standard answer, so I'll be interested to hear what you think about this, because I know that different authors have a very different take on this, and you know, we're all entitled to our own way of doing things. I'm just going to give you my take on it, and if the video is actually live, I can share it, because that's what you're supposed to do with these things, apparently. Yes, looks like it is. Okay, so I titled this "Should You Go Wide or Deep?" because that's kind of the industry talk for whether your distribution, here we go, whether you're going to distribute your book through a single outlet, and that single outlet is going to be Amazon, or if you're going to use all the various different platforms like Kobo and iTunes and, I think Apple. Hang on, let me just do this. Share in a group. Okay, we're done. So that is, hang on, this doesn't look very straight. Am I on an angle? Actually, before I get into that, I want to share a really weird situation, and I'm sharing it because I can hear this buzzing over here. I have got a beehive in my wall, and it's been there for quite a while. Now, I don't believe in killing anything, but certainly not bees, because bees are like what make food, and supposedly there are less and less bees in the world every day, and eventually when there's no bees, there'll be no food. Anyway, I figured there had to be a different way to gently coerce these critters to find another home. And so I rang and I searched and I Googled and I spoke to people. I spoke to apiarists, and I definitely looked up everything I could on the internet, and the consensus, unfortunately, was the only way to get rid of them is to kill them. And I thought, that can't be right. Now, in my travels, I came across an apiarist who had similar feelings to me, in that we can get the bees to move without having to kill them. Now, you are not going to believe this solution. He hasn't done it yet, but it is coming. What he's going to do, this is going to be incredible. So get this. It's up on the second story, the crack in the bricks where they've decided this is where they're going to make their home, and it's right outside my clinic window. Anyway, they're fine. I did get stung the other day, but apart from that, and they've been there for over a year, they haven't, done any damage. They just, they get out there, they do their thing, and they don't bother anyone. But on hot days like this, they buzz a lot, and I can smell the honey. It's amazing. Now, I spoke to this apiarist, and he dispelled a few myths that you might be having in your head right now. Number one, he said it does not damage anything, the interior of the walls or anything. He said he has beehives that are 40 years old, and they're still in perfect, strong condition, because the honey is kept inside the little wax, hexagons. So it's not going to damage the walls. The only time you get damage is when you kill them, because then you don't have anyone looking after all that honey, and all the honey kind of runs down the walls. So that's one thing to know. That's the only time you'll get any, and it's not going to be damaged. Like, honey's not going to damage anything. It'll be messy. He said no. He said there's no honey running down the walls. He said if there was, you'd have ants, which I don't. So that's fine, no damage happening to the interior of the walls, but you know, it just feels like maybe they could find a better place. So what he's going to do is he's going to bring another hive. He's going to put it up there right next to the hole, the crack in the bricks where they've gone in, and get this. What he's going to do is build a little a little pathway, like a little tunnel, that's going to be a single bee wide that goes between the crack in the bricks and the new hive. So what they're going to have to do from now on to get into their old hive, they're going to have to go into the new hive and then squeeze through this single bee wide pathway to get into my house, well, the brickwork. Now, this is what he says. Eventually, they just get the jack of it because it's such a narrow passage and they like to have a bit more free movement. So what they do is, bit by bit, they move everyone from the old hive, which is the inside of the brickwork, into the new hive. Magic, huh? And then he, obviously, somehow he'll know when that happens. And he comes and takes the hive away and puts it in a nice place next to flowery trees. Brilliant. You see, there's a solution to everything. I just had to share that with you because these bees are just buzzing their heads off. But let me tell you my solution to Amazon, and whether you go wide or deep. Yes, I go deep. And by deep, I mean I choose a single distributor for my books rather than spreading them out across lots of different platforms. And there's several reasons for this, but probably the first one was out of pure laziness is not the word, maybe pure overwhelm. There was so much to do that just getting my book up on all these different platforms felt like just one extra task to do. But after, when the overwhelm had died down, and I thought, well, should I look into this? You know, let's check out what some of these other distributors offer. This is the amazing thing that I found. It's not worth it. That's my research. I don't think it's worth it. I think you just stick with one distributor, and that's Amazon. And that is because everywhere I've looked, something like, what is it? I think it's around between 80 and 90% of your sales. So anyone who's got books on all these other platforms, they find that 80 to 90+% of their sales come from Amazon, which means that it's a reasonable amount of work for very little return. Now, if your sales are in the very sort of high numbers, it may be worth the work. But if your sales are only kind of small anyway, then just getting a few sales here and there on Kobo or the various other platforms, I figured I don't think it's worth it. That's the number one reason. Number two reason is because there's this thing called KDP Select, which is Kindle Direct Publishing Select, and you're only eligible to promote your book through their promotions if you are exclusive to Amazon. So that's part of the deal, is that you only put your book in their distributorships. So I have used that. They're free options. Every 3 months you can decide whether you stay in there or whether you go out and go wide. I actually don't do repeated free offers with my books, but I do think it is an extremely good way to jig the algorithm in your favor, especially if your book sales are starting to die off a bit. Perfect time to do a little promotion and drop the price to zero, which you can only do if you're in KDP, and you can only be in KDP if you're exclusive to Amazon. So clearly that is another pretty good reason in my eyes, to stay in and go deep instead of wide. And the third reason, which is kind of similar to the second and is also purely and utterly in my own imagination, because I have no proof of this, so I'm just thinking. Now, everything that Amazon does is as far as your book ranking and your book visibility on its website all comes down to this kind of magical mystery, strange and mysterious beast called the algorithm. I'm sure you've heard of it. Nobody knows how it works. Even the people at Amazon don't know how it works. It's got a mind of its own. But basically, it's some kind of mathematical formula that decides where in the rankings your book is going to sit. And my theory is, if you are a loyal, exclusive, Amazon-only distributing author, that the algorithm will just be a little bit weighted in your favor. Now, as I said, I have no proof of that. I've never even read that. It's just a kind of a gut feeling. I'm like, well, wouldn't they slightly reward you for remaining exclusive? Even if it's just gives the algorithm 1 point weight in your favor. I don't know. Anyway, that's my other kind of reason. But if I'm completely honest, it comes down to a little bit of laziness. I don't want to have to bother dealing with all these other places, and then these little bits of money coming in from, which would be sort of small amounts and hardly worth the bother of. That's how I feel with it. Just stay with Amazon. That was the same reason I kept my book in ebook form for a long time as well. The overwhelm kind of it's just one extra job to do. Now I know how little extra work it actually takes to create a file that you can use print on demand. I definitely do that, but again, for the extra brain bandwidth that it takes, especially in that sort of first time you're publishing, it's so much easier to just keep it electronic, because again, 90% of your sales are going to be electronic. This is the book consumer of today. People like to consume books electronically, and they get their books from Amazon largely. So I think you just have to move with the times, and you just have to recognize that that's the market we're in. It kind of goes against the grain a little bit, I'm going to admit, because I definitely don't like, the big corporations and giving them all the power, and it's putting all your eggs in one basket. And that is a very, very good argument against it. And I definitely would, stand in acknowledgement that, I would agree to that if I wasn't so lazy. And that's a really poor excuse, because in the supermarket, I never buy the supermarket brand anything, and because you see them sneaking in everywhere. At first there was just a few products. Now every single product has here in Australia, it's Coles in my local supermarket. So everything's got the Coles brand of frozen peas, the Coles brand of, I don't know, drinking chocolate, the Coles brand of bread, the Coles brand of everything. And it's always cheaper than all the other brands. And I, just go out of my way to not buy that, no matter, even if it's like the one I actually want, because I'm like, whoa, that's just giving them, eventually they'll just kick out all the competition, and then we'll only be left with them, and then the price won't be cheaper, that's for sure. So I do it there, but I don't do it with Amazon. So there you go. I am absolutely being completely, whatever the word is, I'm being human. What can I say? But that's just my take on it. So I thought you would be interested in finding out, what the different options and opportunities and that you have as a self-published author. Now, if you are a self-published author, or you are wanting to become one soon, then I have got something that is very exciting, and it starts very soon. So it starts the day after tomorrow, which is the 20th of October, and it is the 30-day author bootcamp. Now this is going to be, I'm going to put the link for it underneath this as well, so you can read a little bit more about it. But basically, this is where I am going to be sharing, I'm going to be helping people who need to be that accountability. They need that extra support. They need that a little bit of direction, but still keeping it still allowing for the creative process. I think when you're writing a book, you can't get too formulaic about it, right? But there is a process that gets you from A to B, B being the end of 30 days and the end of your first draft. Now, I know having completed a first draft is the most amazing feeling. I mean, there's still work to do after that, but it feels like you've really you've really got something physical. You actually can print it out, and I do suggest people do print it out and go through it in the physical copy when they have done their first draft, to hold in your hands and hold up this wad of this wad of paper and say, that is my book in raw format. This is it. So I want you to feel that incredible thrill and sense of achievement, and I'm going to help you get there by showing you a method, by holding you accountable and giving you a blueprint and a procedure that you can adapt to your particular style of writing, but that will still keep you on track to achieve something in 30 days. So it is a 30-day author boot camp. If you want to go check it out, it is at kylieansett.com/30 days. That's 30 days. Now, it really is, it's going to be quite unique because I'm going to be having in-depth trainings on a regular basis, and I'm going to be having daily prompts and accountability. Now, this is going to be the kind of stuff that has helped me. I have worked with business coaching and mentoring, and in leadership development in the kind of business world, and I'm going to be bringing a lot of those techniques along with the copywriting techniques that I always use to kind of make sure that the books I create are the ones that are going to sell. I'm going to be weaving that in so that you can get that first draft written in such a way that it's going to be personal, it's going to be true to you and authentic to who you are, and it's going to have your message just imbibed in it, but it's also going to be incredibly saleable, and that's using some of those techniques around the copywriting that I bring into everything that I do, but it's and then the leadership mentoring that I have as well. These skills are going to be there to help you move through what can be quite a challenging process, what can be quite for a lot of people, it's where they get stuck. It's where that book remains either in their head or half written on their hard drive for years. And how many people have you met, and you might even be one of them, who says, I started a book, last year or a few years ago, or I really want to write a book and I think it would be about this. Well, if you're in that stage of like, I would like to do it and I think I want it to be about this, but I don't know if this will be the boot camp that will take you and distill and give you crystal clarity on that idea so that you know how to present your book in a way that's going to be both incredibly satisfying for you, but also incredibly captivating to your ideal reader. That's what the whole boot camp's about. So go check it out. It's kylieansett.com/30 days, 30 days. I will also drop the link below. Now, if you have any questions about it, please ask me. We are kicking off in a few days, so I would love to see you there and take you through this next 30 days in a really supportive and nurturing environment that's going to help that creative muse just bubble out of you in the most beautiful and satisfying way, and give you something that is tangible at the end of it. I can't wait to see you there, because the world needs your story, so you need to write now. Bye.